How's it going, folks? Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel for a new MMO news drop video, and this one covers some of the major news that has dropped over the course of the month. Let's get straight to it, beginning with World of Warcraft, and holy moly, there's so much going on with all the Shadowlands expansion info that's been seeping out. So let's talk about what's happening in-game at the moment. First up, the Winds of Wisdom buff, which grants a 100% bonus XP, and the Impressive Influence buff, which boosts reputation by 100%, has been extended until the 18th of May, so be sure to make full use of that. As for the Shadowlands expansion, gosh, where do we start? There's tons of alpha build info going around at the moment, and the pick of the bunch includes details on the level squish and a new leveling experience that feels more fluid, and we also got to learn a lot more about some of the new zones, the maps, new character customizations, and class covenant abilities. The standout thing for me is the new roguelike dungeon crawler activity coming in Shadowlands called Torghast, Tower of the Damned, where floors are randomly generated and populated with a variety of different monsters, and players will unlock new abilities that changes things up. It's challenging and offers something more to do than the usual mythics, raids, and PvP at the endgame, and I for one welcome it. Much of this info is scattered all over the place, but as usual, the best place IMO to keep up with all the new info is through Wowhead, link below. Moving on to Final Fantasy XIV now, and the latest letter from the producer live has dropped some major news. The next official update is patch 5.3, and this is a big one for many as it includes the main scenario questline revamps for the base game, A Realm Reborn. The structure has been reworked to give new players a more streamlined experience as they progress towards the Heavensward expansion and beyond. Additionally, players will be able to fly in A Realm Reborn areas upon completion of the Ultima Weapon quest. The patch also includes the continuation of the Yorhar Dark Alliance raid series, on top of new MSQs that begins the final act for the Shadowbringers main storyline. And lastly, for Final Fantasy XIV, the Shadowbringers expansion and the complete edition is currently on sale at 40% off. On the Elder Scrolls Online, we've had the Anniversary Jubilee event that's come and gone now, so I hope most of you have taken advantage of the double XP cake and daily boxes for goodies. The Greymoor Prologue quest has been live in-game for a while now, and the biggest news with ESO is that even while the studio is working remotely, it appears that the Greymoor chapter is on track for its 2020 May release, with the exception that there won't be any French voiceovers in-game due to the no-work policy in France right now, but French subtitles will be there. Guild Wars 2 is next, and ArenaNet has rolled out a couple of things since lockdown began last month, like new worlds linking and the return of the Super Adventure Box Festival that will run until the 12th of May. In Guild Wars, the first game, the anniversary celebration has begun, and it features some brand new stuff like new anniversary weapons and new boss enemies to fight that spawns in late game maps if you happen to be carrying a Proof of Triumph with you. Killing them with a Signet of Capture will grant you a new PvE-only elite skill for each profession. Unfortunately, there's some bad news in here too, especially if you've been waiting for Amazon's New World next month. In case you missed it, the studio has released an announcement at the start of the month that has confirmed it will delay the launch of New World to August 25th, 2020 due to the pandemic and the challenges of working remotely. The closed beta, on the other hand, will take place sometime in July. The alpha should be rolling out soon though, as I've already seen giveaway contests on Twitter and what have you, so you'll just have to wait a little longer to get your hands on New World. Another upcoming and hugely anticipated MMORPG is the isometric CorePunk, and its developers have posted its Q1 update a couple of weeks ago. The website post addresses a few things, the most important of which is the game's business model, and they have confirmed that CorePunk will be a buy-to-play game with optional cosmetics through a battle pass system and the in-game cash shop. We also have more info on gameplay, like genders being unlocked for its characters now, so you're no longer forced to play a character who's gender locked. Currently, the devs are working on its heroes and mastery system, and aims to have a few gameplay streams to show off the current build sometime in May and June. Up next, Ashes of Creation got busy over the last month, most notably with its early preview for the Alpha 1 of its MMORPG. The Intrepid Studio team did livestream plenty of Alpha 1 gameplay footage with insights into what works, what's currently in the pipeline, and what's not included. The Alpha 1 is scheduled to take place in May 2020, starting with the highest level Alpha 1 backers from the Kickstarter program, which includes Phoenix Initiative backers and above. And depending on how well the servers do, the floodgates for everyone that's eligible will open in the fall of 2020. Now, in my very last news drop before I went AWOL, I featured Chronicles of Illyria, who at the time allowed backers to participate in a demo that showed off the early game movements and control. Barely a few days later, on the 24th of March, Soulbound Studios put out an update on the website that confirmed development of the game would be halting indefinitely, with staff being laid off due to the lack of funding, alongside a bunch of other excuses, after taking in loads of money from backers already. Obviously, this didn't sit well at all with all the class action lawsuits being talked about, and Caspian had to come out once again this month to clarify his statements. And the decision stands. Development has stopped permanently, and while they are looking at alternatives, don't get your hopes up, folks. Chronicles of Illyria is pretty much dead at this point. Star Wars The Old Republic has a new update out, version 6.1.1, and it's all about changes to personal conquests. It's now more accessible to all characters and not just for players at the endgame, as they are now split into 3 level ranges from 10 to 49, 50 to 70, and 71 plus. It's now easier than before to track objectives, and you can even instant teleport to flashpoints, ops, and missions thanks to some clever UI changes from the conquest panel itself. Alongside these conquest changes, all planetary bonus missions have now been converted into daily and weekly missions. Fantasy XIV Online 2 may have come to the Xbox One, but there's more good news, especially for PC players. Sega has announced that this 2012 MMORPG will indeed be coming to the PC next month, with crossplay available immediately to allow Xbox One users to party up with your PC buddies. The game will be on the Microsoft Store exclusively at launch and will feature the first 3 years of game content from the Japanese release, on top of timed events, collaborations, and expansions. It's also free to play with optional microtransactions. What happened to Ascent Infinite Realm, the South Korean theme park MMO that features airship combat in a steampunk setting? Well, this may have slipped under the radar, but it's a crucial bit of change. Kakao Games and Krafton announced earlier this month that the game has been renamed to ELYON to reflect the new focus of the game since it's gone through some massive core design changes. What are these changes? Well, due to the feedback from the Southeast Asian beta that happened last year, a large portion of the content has been revamped. For example, combat is now action-based and no longer tab target, which is expected, and Kakao really wanted to push this through according to sources. The lore and setting of the world has also changed to reflect the new vision, but retains its blend of technology and magic. Other systems like the questing and story remain unchanged for the time being, and there's still no solid release date for the EU and North American markets, but the plan is still to release there under Kakao Games. The Lord of the Rings Online is celebrating its 13th anniversary this week, and it coincides with the release of Update 26, The Mists of Wilderland, a new quest pack that contains a new zone, quests, and heralds the start of the new Legacy of Durin and the Trials of the Dwarves epic storyline. It's also free until the end of the month, which is unheard of, after which you'll need to either buy it or become a subscriber. Over the last month, there's been plenty of good news too for LOTRO, as mentioned in their 2020 producer's letter, like a revamp to legendary weapons coming, there's going to be Aragorn's and Arwen's wedding as an in-game event, plus a new Challenge League temporary server. The biggest announcements are probably the new content in the form of the War of the Three Peaks, which will have things to do for players of all levels in-game, in addition to a brand new legendary server where Sauron will play a more active role in punishing players, which sounds pretty interesting. And that's all for now, folks. There's still more news to cover, and I'm still catching up on everything myself, but yes, it's good to be back. Hit the like button for the love of MMOs, and hey, feel free to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon to never miss a video. Stay safe out there. Once again, I'm Adrian, and I thank you for watching.